Hi, I'm Lily, and today, this is just another podcast. And today we'll be talking about the world of Booktok, the love, the hate, the controversy of it all, right here, right now, today. So, Booktok. Some of you might be asking, what is Booktok? Booktok is a part of TikTok that has where a lot of people talk about books. I'm not a part of the community like that because I don't love every well, let me correct. I'm not part of the general consensus of Booktok. I do follow some Booktok, maybe creators you might say, but I'm not heavily in Booktok. Mainly because I don't agree with a lot of the books people draw to in Booktok. Booktok is pretty normal. There's always bad and good people in every community you go in. I think us as a society needs to realize that, but that's a subject for another day. Booktok has different sub-talks, if you will. So there's classic Booktoks, which talks about more like classic books, like Charlotte's Web, something like that. Then there's Booktoks like fantasy, like about fantasy books. Basically, every genre of books gets his own talk. So a lot of you may be asking, why is Booktok controversial? Booktok is controversial because of main two reasons. No one will ever agree on one book. A group of people will say this book is good, and another group of people will say that same book was bad. So that's one of the main reasons Booktok is, I wouldn't say controversial, but they get to a lot of heated arguments. And the other thing about Booktok is, well, the books people are drawn to or reading are sometimes what a lot of people would consider, oh, that's the book you decided to pick up and read. Okay. So, Booktok. You may have heard some of the controversy. There's a lot of controversy always around Booktok because there's always like a new author. The thing about Booktok creators and authors or writers is that they are self-publishing the books typically. Booktok started around when COVID-19 was going on, basically late 2019, early 2020. So everyone was stuck in the house. Everyone remembers. Everyone was stuck in the house, so everyone was like, let me get into reading, or the other side of that, let me get into writing a book. So there's a lot of self-published authors. There was even a trilogy called Falling in Love with the Coronavirus. Not judging if you read that, genuinely curious who read that and what did you think about it. But that is the main So that's why a lot of people argue that books are bad, because people are self-publishing. There's not someone going over and checking the book to make sure like every sentence is correct, things of that nature. But the other thing about self-publishing, you can kind of write about whatever, because it's the first, one of the First Amendments. You have the freedom of speech. You can write whatever you want. So a lot of people are learning about a lot of these writers, these self-publishers, were writing a lot of things that were underlying kind of crazy. Well, not crazy, just was crazy. I'm not gonna say specific titles, because I do know specific titles, because I don't want to throw anyone on the bus. I don't want to get sued. So we're just gonna say books for this podcast in this video. So a lot of books the books I see that people talk about a Booktok, or mainly romance. So we'll be focusing on like the romance books, because like love romance books, because I don't know about the other subgenres of Booktok that well. I will have to dig more, but the ones I hear that like get on Twitter have like arguments and discourses about are the romance genre. So they're really popular. People love conflict and something they can argue about. People love to argue. So, especially on the internet, because it's the internet. What else could you do on the internet? So, a lot of people draw to romance books that could be a little controversial in some ways. I know there was a book I don't know, the book that like started all this like controversy, like made all these writers decide to write about really toxic relationships. And there's two sides of these people who like these books. Well, people who read these books. People who read these books are like, oh my god, I love this. This is what I want. It's my future man. Or the other side is, why the heck would you write this? Why did you write this? Kind of a vibe. They're kind of reading it to like see how bad it is because they heard so much about it. And I fall in that a little bit sometimes, because sometimes I read a book because I've heard so bad negative things about it. And so that piques my interest and that makes me want to read it. But sometimes, if I heard it so bad, I do not want to read, because I do not want to put myself in that box of, oh, she read that piece of garbage that literally should be never published on Earth. So, what is the matter with romance books? There's always going to be something wrong with romance books, because everyone has a different interpretation of what love and romance and dating should look like. So it will always be a little controversial because of that. But what makes these books special is because I think most people can agree on this is wrong. So we're gonna break down like each little bit that's wrong with the Booktok romance books. So the first ones that I know, we're gonna go with the ones I know about first, mainly. Let's go over like the romance pairs. So what's really popular are like enemies to lovers, and I love a good enemies to lovers like book ship. If I want to read like something trash and like romance, you know what I go on? I go on Wattpad or AL3. I love a good enemies to lovers fanfic. I wouldn't take the time, look on Amazon and buy the book for $17.99 because I can get that for free on Wattpad or AL3. So that's why I genuinely don't get Booktok, but everyone does what they need to do. There's enemies to lovers, there's always friends to lovers, those are okay, those are fine. The enemies to lovers can always get a little crazy, but friends, all those are okay. The ones where we get to dangerous territory is like, stepsister, ex, stepbrother. No, that should never happen, for obvious reasons, we're related. And people always use the excuse of, oh, but they're they didn't grow up together, or they're in love, they can't help it. Yeah, no, the law will still see that as, oh, that's ancestral. I don't know if I can even say that, but that's the way it is. So there's a lot of argument. There's lots of books like that. Then there's a lot of, how do I say this without getting banned from YouTube? I'm gonna say there's a lot of people like Colleen Hoover. No, she's not a great example because it was just alleged. We're gonna go with like you guys know that lady who worked for Mr. Beast. We're gonna go with her. No, because it was all alleged too. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it and hope I don't get banned and have to blur it out. Maybe like put it on the screen somewhere. There's a lot of pedophile relationships also in these Booktok books. There is one book I will say the name of because I think the lady's going to court for this book. It is called Daddy's Little Toy. Already awful title. If someone who saw that title as they're scrolling on Amazon for books, what possessed you to pick it up and like, I should waste my hard-earned money and buy this book? It's definitely going to be about a loving relationship between a daughter and a father. Nope, psych's on you. It's not. It's about a daughter, freshly 18, and her dad's best friend who's been crushing on her since she was like a baby, getting into a relationship. That's what the book's about. What possessed you to write that? Okay, I can see a point where there's it's for educational purposes, it's to show awareness to stuff like that. That's great. That's not great that happened, but it's great you're trying to show awareness to it. But she dedicated to her children, so I'm like, do you look at your children like this? Even on AL3 and Wattpad, there are books like that. You just don't read them. But someone took their time out of their day, sat down, bought it, and read it. And not also that, someone took the time out of their day to sit down and write it and published it. Then had the audacity to, like, show people, like, hey, look, read my new book, Daddy's Little Toy. No one should ever read that. I believe that's the title. If that's not the title, I'm so sorry if anyone else has a book like that, but that's a bad title. The cover's also very sexualizing children. It's like a pastel pink cover, and the title is spelled out by like building blocks. So just reading that title and seeing what the cover looks like, and I think there's like a teddy bear on the cover as well, so that it's like very childish looking, so it looks very immature in like since it's like for a child. So like imagine you're like, I don't know, maybe 13 years old, you're trying to get into reading and you see this book and you're like, the title's a little weird, but maybe it's a romance book and you're new to the reading realm and you don't know what this is, and you pick it up and you read that and you're now traumatized for life. Also, there's a lot of explicit things that go very detailed, which is fine for books, of course, because freedom of speech, you can do whatever you want with your book, but having a cover like that and having the title as such and knowing what the book's about is crazy. There's other books like that. That's just the main example that I know by name. I don't know the author's name. I'm pretty sure she's in court or getting arrested for this. I'm not quite sure. I didn't want to talk about it just because of that, but I'm gonna be very vague with like the details because I don't know. Well, I do know. I just don't want to get sued. I don't want YouTube to cancel me. Yeah. There's more books like that though. That's not the only book. There's tons of books like that. Where there's an older guy and there's always a younger girl where she just turned 18, it's her 18th birthday, and he's like, oh, I'm in love with you. You shouldn't be. She's still a child. I personally think if you have a teen and still your age, you are not allowed to date someone 50. You're still a teenager. After 19, that's when you become an adult. 20, you're now an adult. Not 18. You're still a teen. That's my humble opinion as a 16-year-old girl, but hey. Also, the other thing about Booktok books is something very controversial. There's a lot of stereotypical, gay stuff. What do you mean by that? I didn't explain that very well. Hold on, let me cook. What I mean by straight girls or women will write books about like two gay men, and they like fetishize it in the way. They like make it a whole like a stereotypical, like how they think stereotypical like gay guys or men act. But like there's like this super feminine one who like wears makeup and all that kind of stuff, and there's like this really tall masculine guy. Not every gay relationship is like that. That's another problem with Booktok books. There's a lot of books like that, or all the like gay relationships are very toxic and like almost abusive. That's also very strong in the anime community. So as someone who is a part of the LGBT, I don't know if I said that right. I'm a part of it, so don't come for me. As a lesbian, I don't see a lot with lesbian couples because or like girl on girl for whatever reason. Maybe because people, I do see some of it, especially more in the anime community than the Booktok community. I know more from the Booktok community with the boy on boy relationships. We're already painted in not the best light, so for a bunch of straight girls and women, or whoever, straight men, who knows, like whoever's writing this, to write like a book about two boys, it's supposed to be them falling in love, but one's very abusive and the other one's just like okay. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it, but this is what it reminds me of, like kind of like when people hear the word dominant and submissive, they hear that. You can hear that two ways. There's a more dominant person, there's a more submissive person. Some people hear that is, the dominant person is in charge of everything. They do everything, and the submissive person is just like, okay, that's not what that means. And when people, that happens also in the straight Booktok books. Let me make that clear. It's not just in the gay ones, but I feel like it's more prominent in the homosexual ones because it's like a stereotype. It's like kind of like a fetish in a way. I don't know how many times I can say the word fetish on YouTube, but I hope it's okay. So it's hard to see that constantly, and I already see that like a lot in all the media. Like not a lot, but like I know it's something that's in the media, especially like I'm in the anime community, as I said earlier. So I see that a lot more than maybe like in the Booktok community. But the books I've seen on Booktok, those are like, it's either the age gap relationships, or it's like basically abusive relationships in like the gay community. That's also very prominent in the straight ones, as I said earlier. The straight ones are kind of almost like scary in a way, because some women are in the comments, or like when they like, you go on Goodreads and you like look up like one of these Booktok books, they'd be like, oh my god, Andrew was a dream man, I want him to drag me to the wall. What, girl? You have daddy issues. Go get help. Go get a therapist. That's what I'm thinking when I read all those comments on like TikTok or like Goodreads, when I'm looking at like people's reviews. They're like, oh my god, he was so fine, I love the way he almost killed her. What? But then like I saw some boy on TikTok say this: if men actually act like that in real life, they will be calling 911 the second they got home, or the second they got access to a phone. Which is so crazy to think about. They think they want this, but then when they get it, they're upset, because that's the reality of it. They think they want an abusive relationship. They think it's bad boy. Bad boy is not abusive. Bad boy is like, I don't know how to explain it, because it's just like not abusive. He's not like trying to kill you. He's just like maybe mysterious, dark, like quiet, kind of like rides a motorcycle, something like that. I don't know. They sounded stereotypical, but like, you know, plays guitars in a rock band. That's bad boy in my head. Not, oh, he tells me what to wear, what to do, I can't do what he says, I can't hang out with my friend because he gets jealous, or he can tell me what to wear, I'm his puppy. No, that's abusive. Unless, and people say, if the girl signed up for this relationship, it's okay. Yes and no. Yes, it's okay. They know. If they know that's gonna happen, I don't support it. I'm gonna call 911 if I see something like that happening. That's just the truth. Whatever. And it is there, but it's still bad, because then in the long run, when they eventually break up, they're like, oh, I was abused, but you signed up for it in a way, though, because you put the okay. And of course, people can do whatever they want in their own relationship, in their own homes, in their own rooms. That's great. But still, writing books about it, especially because Booktok is a big in like the teen community. So like, I'm just thinking about like kids my age, reading that and be like, oh, that's what a relationship should look like. That's what I should be treated like. No, because especially our generation, us Gen Z, have like such like self-esteem issues, and like, you're reading like one of these Booktok books, like, let's just use like Daddy's Little Toy as an example again. You're reading that book and you're like, oh, is this what love is? Is this how I should be treated? When you already have it in your head that you shouldn't be treated any sort of way because you think this low about yourself. But I'm saying that's not everyone's circumstance, or that's how everyone's thought process. I'm just saying the general consensus of Gen Z, especially, we already we struggle with mental health. So reading that book, then thinking, oh, this is what love is. Then when you go out to the world when you're 20, and there's this 50-year-old guy staring at you, you're like, oh, he's in love with me. No, girlie, he wants to abuse you, and he sees you as a toy. So there's that. I went on a little rant there. I didn't mean to, but it is about Booktok. Now, I do want to talk about the good things about Booktok, because, like I said earlier, there's good and there's bad. There is more bad to Booktok than good, in my personal opinion. Let me make this very clear. The things I've seen about Booktok have been more negative. So, I focused on the more negative things because that's what I've seen of Booktok. More negative things. Now, the good things about Booktok. There are good things about Booktok. Like, it got back to the Gen Z and teenagers. It got us back into reading. Because I know a lot of people were saying they're scared for the new generations because we were like so heavily not divided, that's a bad word, focused on our electronics, or like we put all our attention onto that, so or like our phones, things of that nature. So it did get us back into reading. It gave us something to do during quarantine. I wasn't a teenager during 2020. I was maybe 11 years old. I mean, I was like a preteen, not really a teenager. I didn't have the internet, so like I was already reading as a young preteen girl, so I was already reading. But I did notice like my peers of mine reading. Me and my best friend already read a lot, but, like, I would go out and I would see, like, kids my age looking at books. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? This is my book section in the Goodwill. when we were eventually allowed to go out. So that is nice. And I think that's it. It's all the good stuff. I'm totally not kidding. I can't think of any other good thing. Well, I guess there's one more good thing. You could talk about books with people, because it is hard to find, like, book clubs, especially if you're, like, a teenager now. It is hard to find anything to do as a teenager. It is so hard. Like, so hard. Either you have tons of money and you can do everything, you go to a school, a lot of us are homeschooled, or you go to your library, and there may be a chance someone might be there. It's one of the two. So Booktok did do something for that, like, you know, other people, you can, like, type in your book, like, oh, I wonder what are other people's opinion on this book. That's what I liked Booktok for. I like to see other people's opinion on anything I kind of consume. Like, I want to see a different point of view. Like, even with anime or, like, books or kind of anything, I want to see different people's opinion. I want to see people's reaction to what I thought it was really cool. Like, if I thought maybe, like, Tengen's fight, I'm just using it for an example, was cool, or, like, maybe I hated it or something. I want to see what other people think. I go on YouTube or TikTok and I'm like, what is everyone else saying? Or, like, if I get done reading a book, I'm like, that book was so good. And I go on TikTok and I might type in, oh, this book I read, and people are saying, this is bad. I feel powered up. I'm like, hey, this had a good point. Stuff like that. So Booktok was good for that. It brought us into community, to, like, the book community and world. So it was good for that. It was kind of like an online book club that you always had access to. So there's that. That's everything I can think of that is good about Booktok. Everything else is pretty negative. I told you as a general controversy about Booktok. My problems with Booktok. My problems with Booktok, of course, with the abusive age gap stuff. My other problems with Booktok is something I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, because I don't know if people notice it or because I read a lot. When people do already think teenagers don't read, and when they do see what we do pick to read, is like romance books. I don't only read romance books. I read fantasy books. I do read romance books sometimes, but I mainly read, like, mystery books, fantasy books. I like murder mysteries a lot, something like that, or like a biography. Those are, like, my favorite kind of books, a biography, or like it's in the person's point of view. I consider that like a biography in a way. So, but then when we get books like, I'm just gonna use Daddy's Little Toy example again, because that's the only book title I'm gonna say in this video, because I've heard other people say it in their video and they didn't get taken it down. They didn't get their video taken down. What is taking it down? Wow, I need to work on my vocabulary. I'm not reading that much, apparently. So, yeah, that's my general consensus on Booktok. Well, the world's general consensus on Booktok. There's other people make other arguments, like, it's unhealthy, you're still online, you're not really reading. People make the same consensus about reading fan fiction. I think reading fan fiction is a little different. And now, the same things that are wrong with Booktok is the same things that is wrong with, like, fan fiction. Fan fiction is literally just the fan writing something, what they wanted to happen, like in the show or the book. Any piece of media, basically. Video games, shows, anime, books, any piece of media. And they took the time to write that. But they're publishing it in a way, but it's not permanent. See, with, like, publishing a Booktok book, that is very permanent. Once your book is out there, it's out there. But on, like, Wattpad, I'm going to use Wattpad for example, because I'm more on Wattpad than I am, like, AO3. Wattpad, you can delete your account, and your book will be gone. Or, like, whatever you wrote will be gone. And if you don't get popular, like, maybe one person read it. So, like, you can honestly maybe just leave it there. Or delete it. Where Booktok books are very different, like I said, they're there kind of forever. I mean, they won't be sold forever, but, like, there will always be, like, a record. You wrote a book, and, like, it was about an age gap. I'm just saying. the same thing, I have the same pet peeves about fanfiction. I don't like the age gap relationships. I hate the ancestral relationships. People always, that's more about shipping, and I will do another episode about shipping because I have so much to say about shipping. It is crazy, but that's kind of what is Book Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys keep tuning in. Yeah, this is just a fun experience for me to try. I'm gonna try being a podcaster. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Just Another Anime Girl. Search me up. If you're finding this podcast, I'm sure you already see it. So yeah, I'm really just trying to put my blueprint on YouTube because I want to be some kind of creator because I need that. I'm an editor. I want people to see my edits. I'm a very opinionated person, so I thought a podcast would be a great idea for me. I think this topic, I picked this topic because I saw a lot of videos on it. I was like, I have some things I want to say about Book Talk as well. The next episode probably will be about anime and the world of shipping due to anime. The shipping in anime is so crazy, you wouldn't even believe it. If you're like not in the anime fandom, you're probably looking at like anime fans like they're crazy. Some of us are, some of us aren't. It depends on who you come across. Like I said earlier, every community has good and has bad. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, please share some feedback in the comments. If you have anything else to say about Book Talk, like what else you think about it, or how else it's good or bad, please let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.